my name is Michael Whitlow, and I will be visiting today with Mark Andrews, who is the co-CEO of Greystone Communities. Mark has been with Greystone over 36 years, I think going on 37 years, and he is a dynamic leader for the company and also a thought leader in the industry. So I'm very, very excited to talk to you today.
Thank you, Michael. It's a great pleasure to be here today. And the 36 or 37 years just lets me understand I'm getting closer to being a customer of living in one of our great communities than I am anything else. But great pleasure to be here.
Yeah, wonderful. I wanted to kind of start off today with just talking about maybe what you did prior to Greystone, and then maybe how did you transition into the senior living industry?
Michael, I wish I could say that I was smart enough to say that it was a result of very active planning that I established my career in senior housing. In reality, I was really lucky. So I graduated from business school and like many young men then went and joined a consulting firm to really figure out what it was I wanted to do in life. And I had the luck of joining Touche Ross, now known as Deloitte, in their financial consulting practice, and just happened to be assigned to a project that was senior housing. And I enjoyed it. I liked the nature of the work. I liked the team. And I guess I did a good job because I kept being assigned to more senior living projects. And one of the firm's clients was Mike Lanahan, who was then an investment banker at Blythe Eastman Payne Weber. Mike and Paul Steinhoff were the original founders of Greystone. So Mike saw that I guess I had a little bit of talent and asked if I would join, and Paul concurred, and it's been a good ride ever since then.
Wonderful. Wow, that was back in 1984.
The olden days, yes.
The olden days. So, and all this, I mean, you've had quite a bit of experience here, and I think Greystone working with, I know you've worked with over 125 communities across the country as far as development, planning, and the financial portions of it. You've faced, I'm sure, many different challenges as far as the economy or different things like that. How has dealing and leading an organization during COVID, how's that been similar to other challenges you faced in the past, or maybe different?
It has been very different in that I would characterize the COVID pandemic being one that affects people's health status and lives. So through Greystone, I've been involved in many other economic challenges, but it did not threaten people's lives. It was more during the Great Recession. It was an economic challenge, but people were not having to quarantine. People were not having to be worried about their loved ones. So this one's certainly has the economic disruption plus the real life worry of impacting people's health and well-being. So it's been considerably different. It's just not about when is the economy going to recover. It's when will people's health status and confidence recover such that they can go about their everyday lives like they did. And I'm not sure we'll ever go back to what was normal before.
Right. I think you're exactly right. And leading an organization, as far as motivation, a lot of what we do with our customers or our teammates is really just providing outside the box thinking and the encouragement to keep moving through so we can see the other side. And I think you've done a great job at that.
Well, the I guess the one thing that I've learned about dealing with crises and challenges is just to keep at it. Don't give up, because we too shall get through whatever it is that gets thrown at us. And so smart thinking, being persistent, and trying to identify strategies that not only can address short-term objections, but can also be modified and carried forward thereafter, I think has made a difference for Greystone in how we've worked with our clients and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. That vision of where are we going from here? And I know that's a big question a lot of folks are asking is, when is this going to be over? Which I think hopefully we're getting close. And what does the other side look like? And
Well, the one thing is that the one side that'll look like, or it'll look like on the other side, is it'll be different, and we're not sure how different. And so what that means to all of us is that we need to have a willingness and an ability to adapt and change. I think that's one of the more interesting things about our business, is that it's never boring, sometimes frightening, but never boring.
Yeah.
And I like to believe that with the way that Greystone has organized itself in providing services to our clients. So yes, we're a consulting firm, but we also execute on our plans. And that kind of gives us a, not unique, but a broad perspective in senior housing, in the fact that we're planning, that we're marketing, that we're developing, that we're financing, that we're operating, that we're managing, lets us see the business as a whole. And we apply business smarts to that holistic thinking. Lets us think, okay, if we change or modify behavior in this way, will it help to advance the business outcomes for our clients? So it's that kind of smart business thinking that I think helps to differentiate us, all emanating out of our 40 years of experience-based knowledge.
Yeah. And as we think about that adapting and that smart thinking, one of the things we're seeing a lot, really, we've been seeing this technology develop to keep seniors at home longer. And during COVID, I think there's been more of an emphasis on these technology companies coming out with, whether it be app-based products to help monitor seniors or voice-activated systems to help in different ways. How do you think that's going to affect the traditional senior living model that we have? Are we going to have to adapt and change?
Well, certainly we will have to adapt and change. Technology is a positive disruptor in that it's going to force us to change the way that we have traditionally designed and operated senior housing. But I think that's a good change in that we're going to be able to offer an environment that will still meet the key needs of seniors that technology will never, in my mind, be able to replace. And what is it that a senior living community provides? It's a sense of community. And just like you and I could have done this conversation by Zoom, but it's better because we're here together in person. And so that's, I think, the one thing that technology will never be able to do is to replace that sense of community from gathering together in person. So will technology be able to enhance wellness? Certainly, because we'll have better information and better knowledge. Will technology be able to enhance better or improved aging with dignity? Absolutely, because it will help predict falls, and we'll be able to maybe eliminate the incidence or the number of falls. So it will have a dramatic improvement on the quality of life, but I don't think it will ever replace the sense of community that the senior living community offers. Now, that doesn't mean that the design of our communities won't have to change substantially. But I think what we'll see is that seniors will realize that while we all have a desire to remain in our old home, that home is old, and it's not the best physical environment with which to take advantage of all this wonderful technology. So we'll have to continue to adapt and change the design so that seniors will see it as being a preferred environment with which to be able to use all this wonderful technology.
I think that's a great point, and I'm excited to see that, and we have in some of our new projects start to see these technologies being worked into the community to really help the staff, help the residents, and provide them those things at home. One of the things that you brought up there was just the sense of community, and when we talk about, I like to always talk about the teams, is what is the foundations of what we do in our product? Mm-hmm. What are those things that have always held true for senior living in our industry? And I think one of those is community. What might be some other things, just the foundations, the things that have not changed about senior living? When we talk about, kind of on the opposite of technology, we're going to see a changing there. What are some other things, in your opinion, that have always been there, will always be there, the core of our industry?
Well, I think that when we look at a new market opportunity, we always come back to what is the senior trying to accomplish in considering a life change, perhaps giving up her own home and moving to a senior living community. And those motivations, I think, are the same today as they were when the first senior turned age 65, which is, it's about security. It's about providing predictability. It's about providing certainty. So what is it that we can do in our environments to remove the fear of aging? Because it's something that, as you age, you've never done before. And it's a very frightening thing as you see your own abilities beginning to be diluted as you become more frail. So I think if we can continue to provide a program and an environment that helps to reduce that fear so the senior knows they'll be able to still stay with as much purpose and engagement as they had throughout their earlier phases of life, we'll have a very successful business. So it's not about the real estate. It's about the program that takes place within inside those four walls. And I think we've done a really good job in advancing some very innovative designs in senior housing. Where I think we still have a lot of room to grow is addressing the cognitive needs of our clients, and how do we provide that programming, that wellness, that way of life that allows them to still stay as engaged as they can.
Outstanding. Well, and I think that I totally agree with you there, and we see it all the time. And I think from, us that are in senior living, we get to, when we walk into a community, we can see it, we can feel it. It's such a special place. There's so many of those untangible values that our products bring.
It's really the intangible values that make all the difference in the world. And that's one reason why I believe our not-for-profit clients provide high resident satisfaction, because they're in it for a lot of different motivational reasons, but really to serve the seniors' needs, whatever they may be, to provide for that high quality of life. And they'll continue to innovate on the program side. They'll continue to innovate on the business side to always try and do the best job possible meeting the residents' needs. May not move as quickly as we would all like, but they're certainly doing it for the right reasons.
Outstanding. Kind of switching gears a little bit, 2020 has really, it's disrupted. It's challenged a lot of people in different ways. It's created some uncertainties in different industries, and some industries are thriving and some industries aren't doing so well. What would be your advice for somebody coming out of college, or somebody who is a little further along in their career, of those who might consider, why should somebody consider a career in senior living?
I'm really excited about what we're seeing now about senior living coming into the mainstream to be considered a smart, exciting, and dynamic career opportunity. People of my generation almost kind of fell into it. It wasn't necessarily a well-defined career path, notwithstanding the fact that we've had some wonderful learning institutions, universities provide degrees in career paths, but it just wasn't that mainstream. As we now have the grain of America occurring real time, I think we're seeing more and more smart, young, energetic people think about it. And our universities are responding. One of our clients, University of Central Florida, has now created a degree program in senior living. And so I think we'll see people being more intentional about it, more purposeful about it. And that needs to happen, because senior living has become a much more complex business. So I think it will require more of future generations of leadership to be prepared for the complex business of senior living and the fact that it's changing now at a faster pace than it ever has. So it's going to require somebody that has chosen to actively pursue a career, and for that individual to be well prepared well educated in it. We're also seeing, too, our providers recognizing that they need to grow and change as organizations and be more dynamic in order to create an opportunity that would attract a bright young person that has many options in front of them. So a lot of options there. And I guess I would say to those individuals that are thinking about, well, gee, why would I want to go into an industry that serves old people? That doesn't seem very exciting. That's a myth we need to dispel, because it's a business that requires strategic planning. It's a business that requires empathy. It's a business that requires somebody willing to take a risk. It's a business that requires somebody that can be forward thinking about how will generational shifts cause a different demand in what we do. That requires a person that can think. And I think we'll see more people coming into senior living because of that.
That's outstanding. We're seeing more exposure you talk about there with UCF. And one thing that we started talking about here, I know in the marketing department, is we have an intern coming in.
Yes.
To work with us. That's so exciting, and I'm looking forward to be able to share with younger folks that are coming out of college and kind of open their eyes to senior living as this industry continues to grow.
Well, certainly as the industry meets and provides the greater degree of supply that we think is needed to meet the demand out there, we have to, as an industry, be very focused on the training, the mentoring, and preparedness of our future leaders and managers, because it will become, well, I guess it already is, a challenge to fill all of those management and leadership spots that we know will occur. Right now we see a large number of career-minded people beginning to retire, and there's a concern that we're not going to have enough of high-qualified staff coming up and coming in. So that's why we're glad to have you with us, Michael.
Yeah, thank you.
Is we are really pleased to see people choosing senior housing as a career option.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's really been a wonderful, my time here has been wonderful to see all the different facets and aspects of senior living here at Greystone. And so, Mr. Andrews, I really, really appreciate your time.
I enjoy speaking about Greystone, speaking about the industry. I like to talk.
Yeah.
So thank you for asking me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And for those of you out watching, stay tuned for upcoming interviews. We appreciate Mr. Mark Andrews, co-CEO of Greystone Communities.